So there is an appointed time for everything, a time for everything under the heavens, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to uproot the plants. One of the more famous readings from the Old Testament, I think you're all familiar with this kind of explanation that the author of the Ecclesiastes gives. This reading really does well. It complements the gospel well, because in the gospel Jesus says it's not time for you to proclaim me the Messiah. First, I have to suffer and die, because the expectations of the Messiah was not that he was going to take on the sufferings of the world and die for your sins and mine. The expectations of the Messiah in the minds of many people was that he was going to lead a popular revolt against the Roman Empire. So Jesus is saying it's not time. The time will come. The time is now. Recently, I had the privilege to go on a retreat, and one of the things that I wanted to do during the course of my retreat was really reflect on my whole spiritual life. There's a practice in the church called a general confession. Some of you have heard of a general confession, maybe some of you haven't. A general confession is kind of to review your whole life and kind of go back and see where you've sinned and where you've been virtuous and what the pattern is, and kind of with a renewed understanding of sin and virtue and love and mercy and consequence, confess it all. A general confession. And so I worked on that for a while. And I realized something about myself, and I just share with you. I'm a bit of a procrastinator. And we can all kind of laugh about that, okay? Can all kind of say, yeah, me too. But then you have to ask yourself, why? Why do we put it off for another time? Because the time isn't right now, right? Wrong. Maybe because we're cowardly. Maybe because we're afraid. Maybe because we haven't been diligent in preparing ourselves for this moment. See, there is a time to be silent, and there is a time to speak. But we can fall into the pit, and it is a pit of sin to say, oh, it's not time. I'm not ready. Everything's not lined up perfectly. And my brothers and sisters, I confess to you all, I have fallen into that pit. I've lived in that pit. It's time for us to live as men and women who follow Jesus Christ with all our heart, all our mind, all our soul, all our strength. It is time to proclaim the Messiah in our words and our actions. Now, how you're going to do that, and when you're going to speak to your next door neighbor or your friends, or how you're going to proclaim the Messiahship of Christ, yes, there is a time. But please, help me and let me help you get out of the pit of procrastination and seize the day, right? Today's the day. Tomorrow never comes. Yes, indeed, my brothers and sisters, there is an appointed time for everything, and a time for everything under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot the plant, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, a time to dance. But never forget, today is the day, and seize the day.